Well, good morning, everyone. Aquarius comes our way tonight here on TV6. Joining us this morning, star of the show, David Duchovny. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so you play Sam Hodiak. I got the impression last year from watching the show, Sam Hodiak is a good cop. At least he wants to be, but he doesn't always come off as a good guy. Does that change much this year?
No, he is who he is. He's a difficult person. He's an effective cop. You know, whether or not he's a good cop is a different matter of interpretation. You know, he believes he knows who the good guys are and who the bad guys are, and he's going to get the bad guys, even if he doesn't have what you might think of as evidence. And he's going to dispense with his own justice. So he's a bit of a vigilante in his job, but I would have to say his heart and his soul are in the right place, and he's a homicide detective, and what he really feels is the ghosts of the victims. I mean, he's a guy who wants to protect people, and he wants to avenge people who have been killed.
Sure, and he does that very effectively. The writers have done a great job on Aquarius of blurring that line between a great fictional story and real life. Now, how much are we going to get into those Manson murders this year?
This year we're going to get into the actual events of those fateful nights. We begin in that August of '69, and we end there. You know, so it's going to be flashing back and forward as Manson gets more and more frustrated, not becoming the rock and roll star that he wanted to be, and we move inexorably towards what actually happened, towards historical fact.
Well, scary stuff. Now, real quick, you were just a kid when this happened in real life. Do you remember any of that personally, or did you not find out about it until you were older?
I'm not sure. It's hard for me to tell you exactly if I remember it from the time, because I heard about it shortly after, if not then. But I do remember reading Helter Skelter by Bugliosi, by Vincent Bugliosi. And I do remember being interested in Manson. So if I read Helter Skelter, it would be a few years after the fact. I doubt that I was aware of the headlines. I grew up in New York. The world was smaller then, and that the news probably wasn't in my face from Los Angeles the way it might be these days with the internet. So it's very possible that as a 9-year-old I was in a cocoon, that I didn't hear about Manson, but certainly a few years later when Helter Skelter came out, and I was aware of all that.
All right, well, I just want to thank you again, and again, that 2-hour premiere coming our way. I can hardly wait. I don't want you to give too much away, but anything that you want us to take away before we start up tonight's premiere?
I think I love this show, and I think it's so different from other shows other cop shows that are on network, in that there are a lot of characters and there's a lot of storylines that are intersecting, and some of them are fictional and some of them we know. Some of them are historical. So it's a busy, full show, and we're not going to wrap things up. We're not going to wrap things up every episode. So in a way, I have to ask your commitment to keep going with it and see where it leads, rather than having a case per week that's tied up in a neat bow. We have 5 or 6, 7 or 8 different strands, cases that are all going on at once, and you're going to have to hang out and see how those happen throughout the entire season.
Well, personally, I can hardly wait to hang out with you all through Aquarius this season. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right.